Hi, this is Dave. Lesson about the Disney debacle that we just have gone through, and the lesson for Christian companies in that whole scenario. By now, I think most people are aware of what we call the Disney debacle. Here's a quick review. So here's what happened. The Florida legislature passed a bill they call the Parental Rights in Education Bill. And here's what it said, and I'm quoting now a government publication. Quote, the bill reinforces fundamental rights of parents to make decisions regarding upbringing and control of their children. It prohibits school districts from adopting procedures or student support forms that prohibit school district personnel from notifying parents about specific information or that encourage a student to withhold from parents such information, prohibits school district personnel from discouraging or prohibiting parental notification and involvement in critical decisions affecting students' mental, emotional, or physical well-being, prohibits classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in certain grade levels, requires school districts to notify parents of health care services, authorize parents to bring action against school districts to obtain declaratory judgment, provides for additional award of injunctive relief, damages, and reasonable attorney fees and court costs to certain parents. Okay, that's what the bill says. Now, some advocates for the LGBTQ community seized on the section of the bill that prohibits teaching sexual orientation to children in kindergarten through third grade, and therefore condemned it, calling it the, quote, don't say gay bill. That, of course, caused a furor among social media as people reacted to the catchphrase. The Disney Corporation then decided that it did not want to have anything stand in the way of teaching sexual orientation to kindergartners and came out publicly in opposition of the bill. So it turns out, after that noise took place one way or the other, it turns out that the Disney Corporation was enjoying a unique and preferred situation in Florida. In 1967, the Florida legislature created a special district that allowed Disney to govern itself instead of being subject to the rules and the authority of the local government. This is called the Reedy Creek Improvement District. So back in 1967, the Florida legislature allowed the Disney Corporation to basically rule themselves and not be under any of the local government. So they had a special deal, and of course the special deal produced Disney World. The Florida legislature then now brings up to this year. The Florida legislature, in reaction to Disney's position, remember Disney just said they do not support the Parental Rights in Education bill. They are against prohibiting school districts from adopting procedures that keep the parents in the dark. They are against prohibiting schools from teaching sexual orientation to kindergartners. They're against that. They want sexual orientation to be taught to kindergartners. They want school districts to withhold information from the parents. They do not want the parents to have a say in the development of their children, because that's what the bill says, and so Disney took a position and opposed to that. Okay, now this podcast is not about the pros and cons of the bill, nor about the Florida legislature, nor about the position of the Disney Corporation. Rather, I would like to focus on a lesson that we can all learn from this sequence. Our economy is peopled with thousands of companies which are run by Christians who have decided to hide their faith and separate it from their presence in the marketplace. So they compartmentalize their faith and they compartmentalize their careers, and they seek to remain invisible Christians in the marketplace. And they tell themselves that, they go to church and they're active in their local church, and that's all that's required of them as Christians. And so church is on Sunday, business is on Monday, and the two don't meet. So the world is full, absolutely full of Christian. My own personal opinion is probably 95% of the Christian businesses in the world hide their Christianity, and the most common motivation for this is fear. They're afraid of the repercussions from their employees. They're afraid what their customers might think. They're afraid what their vendors may think. And so they believe if they were to stand up for Christian values and use their position of influence to advocate for Christ or for Christian values and Christian principles, they would be ridiculed by some and potentially hurt economically. And so the fear keeps them silent. Now, that's a position I believe that the overwhelming majority of Christian business people hold, whether they admit it or not. Contrast that to the Disney Corporation. Again, the focus of this article is not on the position that Disney took, but rather on the fact that they took a position. They risk alienating their core customer base, who are parents, by standing against a bill that said parents should have the right to influence their children's education. By acquiescing to the clamor of the 3% of the population represented by the LGBTQ community, they thumbed their nose at the majority, 97% of the population. And while they probably didn't consider the possibility of losing their special status, their actions will cost them billions in reduced revenue from parents boycotting them, as well as the unexpected costs of losing their self-governing position. They have lost at least one key executive, and who knows how many other employees have left or will leave because they oppose their employer's position. Now, there is a lesson in this scenario for Christian business owners. Look beyond the emotional reaction to the position that Disney took, and consider the fact that they took a stand. It was a controversial stand. It may have been done in ignorance to what the bill actually said. I just wonder if any executives in Disney actually read the bill, or if they just reacted to the catchphrase being tossed about in social media. Regardless, they'll continue to suffer the consequences of the stand they took, and the consequences are somewhat significant. They'll lose some of their customer base for sure. There are parents who will not go to Disney World because of their position. There are parents who will not let their kids watch Disney movies. And so they will have lost some of their customer base. They will have lost their special status. They will have lost respect from many of their employees, and they have done injury to their brand image. That was the cost. All that said, they will emerge on the other side of this. Folks will continue to watch Disney movies and stand in line for hours at the Disney resorts. Life at Disney will continue, although it may be a bit more damaged than before. So they took a stand, which is something most Christian business executives are afraid to do. They suffered the consequences of that stand, which again is something that most Christian business executives fear. In other words, they did what most Christian business executives have not been willing to do. In a sense, they become a model for reticent marketplace Christians. What would our world be like if that changed? What would be the impact of thousands of Christian businesses standing up for their faith in the marketplace? What would be the impact of thousands of Christian businesses and millions of Christian business people deciding to let their faith show in the marketplace, understanding that their jobs and their businesses are their ministry, and beginning to show Christ's love, God's love, the kingdom power through their marketplace positions. What would our world be like if that changed? What would be the impact of thousands of Christian businesses standing up for their faith in the marketplace? You know, Jesus said, and I'm going to quote here Matthew 10:32 through 33. Jesus said, "Whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven." That's Matthew 10:32 through 33. Well, it may be time to shed the cloak of anonymity that most Christian business people embrace. It may be time to start verbalizing your faith. It may be time to take positions that are Christian in their orientation. If Disney can take a stand, regardless of what you think about the stand, but they took a stand as opposed to hundreds of thousands of Christian business people. If Disney can do it, why can't you? Well, one of the reasons why you may be hesitant to stand up in the marketplace for your Christianity, one of the reasons may be that you don't have a support group. You don't have any place to go to reinforce those messages. And we have a solution for that. The XI community, XI stands for Excellence and Influence. It is an online community of Christian business people who have access to oodles of Christian business content and have an opportunity to engage with one another, encourage one another, get to know one another, as well as our team of experts, and just move. It's like a support group in a sense, to move yourself and your business to a more visible Christianity in the marketplace. That's what we'd like to do in the XI community. It's $5 a month. I know. Just check it out. It's I'll put a link in the show notes. Check out the XI community. It might be what you're looking for. Okay, that's it. We're done. Bye-bye.